Anybody here with enough spiritual courage to admit you in a spiritual struggle? Anybody here with enough spiritual courage to admit you in a spiritual wrestle? Anybody here with enough spiritual courage ready to admit that life is a fight? What's Elijah running from? Death threats. Fear got him. Now we dare not have the ability to look down our nose and say he ought not be afraid, because fear gets us. Everybody, different day of the week, different issue, different circumstance, but everybody has something that they are afraid of. Fear has them running. So today the question of the pulpit is there any hope? The answer is yes. But I want to be clear on where the hope is and how we get hope. First way we get hope, not going to spend a lot of time on it, but I want to say this. Hope comes by increasing our prayer life. Not going to spend a lot of time on it. We've been talking about prayer forever. We've been trying to get you to pray more forever. Here's the challenge. Measure how much time you spend on this little, y'all got one of these, some got two. How much time do you spend talking to your friends versus how much time do you spend on your knees talking to God? Where do you find hope? Check your support group. Everybody needs a spiritual support group. I'm not talking about your fan club. I'm not talking about the folk who are buttering you up and everything you do is always right and they're always glad to be with you. I'm talking about your true friends. Because everybody in your crew, not your friend. No, there's no. There's some folk that are trying to ride your coattail. But true spiritual friends will tell you when you're right and will tell you when you're wrong. And you need somebody in your life that when you're contemplating doing A, B, or C, you can talk with them and say, you know, I've been thinking about doing A, B, and C, and they are honest enough to say, fool, if you do A or B or C, it's going to be a train wreck. You need some honest folk that love you enough to protect you and not want to see you make a mess out of your life. Check your support group. Where do you find hope? Learn how not to be afraid of the dark. Life is filled with some dark moments. Some children grow up afraid of the dark. Some grown children are still afraid of the dark. The good news is that God works in the darkness. Time magazine, April of this year, April 28th, the cover story highlighted an acclaimed preacher's sermon, Barbara Brown Taylor, Finding God in the Dark. And she challenges the broad popular theological belief that darkness is evil, scary, and bad. She reminds us that God and darkness, says Taylor, have been friends for a long time. God works in the darkness. God has done some of his best work in the dark. The plan of salvation, the plan of redemption, the plan was sealed with resurrection in the darkness. God is at work. Darkness may cover your life. Darkness may cover your family. Darkness may bring fear to us. But God is not scared of the darkness because God created the darkness and God still controls the darkness. Where is there some hope? Another point of hope is to be reminded you are not alone in this struggle. Loneliness is real. Loneliness has nothing to do with how many people are around you. You can be in the midst of a large crowd but feel alone. You may have a lot of people talking and noise around you and still feel alone. Loneliness is real. One of the main things that got Elisha, that has him under this juniper tree, contemplating death, asking God to die, he felt he was the only one standing up for God. Loneliness creeps in and loneliness comes in. Loneliness covers us. Loneliness blinds us. Loneliness covers our ears to hear the voice of others. But you're not by yourself. You have some folk that are praying for you and pulling for you that you don't even know are praying for you. You have some folk who know a part of your struggle and a part of your situation. They don't know all your drama and trauma, but they know you're going through something. And they've been praying for you. We sing the song sometime, somebody prayed for me. That's real. Had me on their mind, took the time and prayed for me. I'm so glad they prayed for me. There are folk who are watching you and praying and pulling for you to stay in the fight and stay in the struggle and stay in the race and stay on the battlefield. Some people you know and some people you don't know. But there's another crowd that's praying for you. There's another crowd that's pulling for you. There's another crowd didn't live to see you get grown. There's another crowd crossed Jordan a little bit too early. There's another crowd. We had to carry them to the grave too early for our picking. There's another crowd walking around the balconies of glory. There's another crowd watching and looking and seeing what's going on, and every now and then, can't put it on the schedule, every now and then, you can't make an appointment with it for it to happen, but every now and then, right when the load gets a bit too heavy to bear, and right when fear is about to overtake us, and right when the burden is about to knock us down, every now and again we feel another spirit standing beside us in the race. We feel another hand guiding our hand. The Bible puts it like this: seeing as we are surrounded by such a great cloud of witnesses. You're not by yourself. You're not by yourself. How to find hope? We got to learn the high and low side of our lives. You see, in the text, it helps us to realize and understand there were two Elishas. There's a high Elisha, stood on Mount Carmel, challenged the prophets to a fight, held firm to the hand of God. That's a high Elisha. But there's a low Elisha under the juniper tree, crying out to God, take my life, I'm ready to die. Two Elishas. There are two of us. There's some days you get up You on top of the world. Nothing or nobody bothers you. It doesn't matter if the sun is shining or if it's pouring down the rain. You walking on cloud 29. There's some days everything is just going your way. You feeling good. Life is rolling well. Life is sweet. You're glad to see folk, even the folk you don't like. It don't bother you on that day. There's some days you're just happy. You glide along. You move at a good pace. Your whole day just zips right through. That's the high side.